Alright guys, so it is the 5th of December, which means it is 1 month and a day until I'm 18 years old. I'm going to be so much of an adult, so I'm going to talk about some really important adult things, which is book-to-movie adaptations. As a lot of you might have known, Warner Brothers acquired the rights to Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, which is a brilliant book, as I'm sure you're all aware by now. And a few months ago it was announced that Zach Penn was going to be writing the screenplay for it. Now, apparently Zach Penn has been in close collaboration with Ernie Cline while writing this, so with a bit of luck, it should be good. I've read a report the other day that the screenplay is done for Ready Player One. They've finished writing it. Now here's the thing. With Ready Player One, it could go very wrong, because Ready Player One includes a lot of very risky things, what Ernie Cline did. He put a lot of copyrighted stuff that if you were to put in the film, you would probably have to try to get the license for it, which would probably be very difficult and would cost a lot of money, making the budget for this film huge. Now apparently a lot of that stuff has been cut, but they've still taken a lot of liberties hoping that they can get this stuff in. I'm trying to think what kind of stuff will still be in the film if they do make it. I mean, just because there's a screenplay written doesn't mean there's actually going to be a film, because there was a screenplay written for Paper Towns in like 2008 and they're only making the movie now and it's a different screenplay. So yeah. So I'm going to tell you about some of the things that I don't think will quite make it into the Ready Player One film. Warning, spoilers for the book. I'd highly recommend you don't watch this if you've not read Ready Player One, because you should be reading Ready Player One right now. What the fuck are you doing? Go read that book. Or listen to the audiobook, narrated by Will Wheaton. So one of the main things I don't think are going to make it into are the flip sync things, the scenes in which Wade goes into a movie. I think they'll struggle to get the rights to do the movie, or I'm not sure how they would do that. The War Games scene and the Monty Python and the Holy Grail scene. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure if War Games is a Warner Brothers product. If War Games is a Warner Brothers thing, then maybe they could get War Games, but I'm pretty sure that the Holy Grail is not a Warner Brothers IP. So I don't know what to do about that. But it'd be great if they could still have it in, because I feel like that's quite an important part of Ready Player One, and those things, because those are literally like, that's the final gate and the first gate, you know, those are important things. I also think they'll struggle to get a lot of the ships in. I reckon they could at a stretch get in the Ecto 88 if they don't overtly mention that it's the car from Back to the Future and Ghostbusters. If they just have a, you know, it just happens to be a DeLorean with a Ghostbusters logo on it, they might be able to get away with that, hopefully. I mean, Ernie Cline actually has the Ecto 88. It's based on Ernie Cline's car. It's not based on anything real. It's sort of a mashup, but, you know, I can still see how that might be a problem. I don't think the Serenity or the Kaylee, or I think he renamed it something else when Wade got it. I can't remember what he named his ship, but it's the Firefly class ship from Serenity. I don't think that'll make it in, because the rights to that are owned by Fox and Universal. So that'll suck, because it's a shame, because, you know, anytime you get to see Serenity on the screen is a blessing, really, isn't it? I also think they might struggle to get some of the rights to maybe some of the video games. I'm not sure about that, but they might struggle with stuff like that. Next up on the agenda, though, is what I think will be quite important to this movie. Its soundtrack. That might not be a thing you immediately think of when you read Ready Player One, the music, but I think it's very important. It's mentioned, I think, in the first chapter of the book, or chapter 0, I'm not sure which chapter it is. It's mentioned really early on that modern bands playing 80s covers were in the charts in the time of Ready Player One, or in the time that James Halliday died. So that's what I think the soundtrack should be. The soundtrack should be entirely bands covering famous songs from the 1980s. I know of one song that I definitely want in the soundtrack, and that is I Fight Dragons' cover of Huey Lewis and the News' The Power of Love. What's especially brilliant about that is it starts with an a cappella of the Back to the Future theme. I think that could be brilliant. I think their cover of Power of Love has got the right kind of like energy and like 8-bitty sound. I think it would really add to the video game element of that film, and I think it would be really cool. It'd be a great way to sort of open up the movie as well, just a really confuse the audience, like, oh, Back to the Future, no, and then go into Parallel Love. Because that's how Back to the Future starts. It starts with Parallel Love. You can almost start like with like a parody scene. That would be really funny. Though, speaking of scenes from Ready Player One, I had a go at writing the James Halliday Will scene, script writing like a screenwriter. I used the script writing free script writing app. I think it's called Trelby. Seems interesting. It's really hard to do. So hopefully Zach Penn has done well, because I was writing it and it feels like a really long scene to me, and I feel like that scene won't be at all interesting at like the start of the movie or at any point in the movie. And I'm thinking, wow, it must be really hard to cut down this, because I wanted to keep everything. I wanted to keep all of the information that was in Ready Player One. I wanted to keep that all in my screenplay, and as a result, if I kept writing like that, I would have written like a 16-hour long film, which I would love, I think, but I'm not sure anybody would go see a 16-hour long adaptation of Ready Player One, except me. So I'm worried about Ready Player One, but I'm also really excited about Ready Player One. I really hope that it does come into fruition and it does get used, and I hope that they do acquire as many like rights to stuff as they possibly could, because I think that would be brilliant. It would just sort of add to the entire universe, and I just hope it's good. It's just gotta be good, alright? Good. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.